Dom introduced her song and somehow tied it back to her session. So now I have to tie Hot to Go back to this session. And I thought about it, and we're going to give you some hot tips and information to go back home. So today what we're here to talk about is real-world success stories and how event pros are winning. So I would love to introduce my panelists to come on up before we go over the agenda. So Nick, Kia, Howie, please join us on stage. And then we'll probably need more microphones unless we're going to pass it back and forth. We could pass it back and forth. That's fine. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for driving into DC on the busiest day to commute into the city. Oh, amazing. And I will say we are lucky in that we actually get to sit for our entire session, so none of us have to stand the entire time, which is going to be great. So a quick overview of what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to go over some introductions, let everyone introduce themselves so you know who our lovely panelists are. After that, we're going to go over some real-world success stories. So how are they being successful in the field? What opportunities are they seeing? What are they learning? And then also, we're going to leave you all with some lessons learned in actionable takeaways to go, hot to go. And then, of course, there will be time for a live Q&A at the end. So any questions from the audience here in DC or any questions from the audience who are tuning in virtually, we would love to have you throw those in the chat and we can chat through them. All right, so let's start by getting to know our amazing professionals joining us today. First, we'll start with myself. So I'll kick things off. I am Eddie Campbell. I am the manager of the customer success team here at Goodshuffle. I get to work with these incredible vendors every single day, and I'm so excited to host this conversation. Like I said, I am the host. I think this is probably the first time in my life I'm not the star of the show. So I do want to pass it over to our panelists to introduce themselves. So Nick, I would love if you could talk a little bit about who you are, what your business is, and then if you could answer 2 questions. How did you first get into the events industry? And then what do you love most about working in the events industry to get us started?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for having me today. And thank you to the other panelists as well. My name's Nick Muzzatti. I own Snap Entertainment. We are an arcade game and photo booth rental company in the DMV. We've been in business since 2013. I've only owned the company since 2017. So prior to that, I was working for someone else. I got into the events industry because I dropped out of college, and I kind of found my way into the events industry working for someone else. Really enjoyed the fast-paced nature of the industry, enjoyed the problem solving. As I learned more and I grew, I just grew to kind of love in a way, a little bit of the chaos or the hectic nature of the industry. I love the overcoming challenges. So, here we are now, and Snap Entertainment, I would say, is one of the larger arcade game and photo booth rental companies in the area. I have a really great team that I work with now. We got through COVID, and I think now I just love to see that we're growing, and there's a lot of companies around us growing as well. So, thank you.
That's it? Yeah. Okay. I'm Howie Teger with NYX Entertainment and Events. Got into this business at 15 years old, many years ago, just because I didn't want to do real work and I wanted to become a DJ. But as we started as a DJ in New York, then moved out here to DC, we then continued to grow, creating new divisions and new revenue streams. So we have our entertainment division, AV division, photo booth division, one of my competitors who I adore very much. Furniture rental and decor. So company now, it started with me, and now we have about 60 employees that work for us. And like Nick, we came through the pandemic, and it's been great, and we've been growing year over year. And we do attribute tying in with Goodshuffle to some of that growth. It has definitely streamlined a lot of the processes that we use to secure new business.
Amazing. We'll get into that in a little bit. What do you love most about working in the events industry?
Probably because I'm a little crazy, and you have to be in this business. The problem solving. Nobody normal or sane jumps into this business. It is quick, on your feet. You're forced to react quickly with creative solutions. And a certain type of personality likes that. I do. I enjoy that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good morning. My name is Kia Taylor. I own a company called Elegant Experiences, which we're a full-service event management company. So we offer logistics, we do decor rentals, and we have a venue space in Randallstown, Maryland. I got into the event industry in 2017. I have a different story than you all. I just did parties for family, and I love crafting, and I'm very creative. I had a client tell me one day, we want you to plan this conference, but you have to have a business. We can't pay you unless you have a business. So I was forced to figure that out, start the business. They gave me a binder and said, okay, now we need you to produce this event in 1 year. So that was my challenge to kick off, to streamline everything, and then I've hit the ground running since then. I'll say that just like you all, COVID was a challenge for me. At the end of COVID, I got laid off from my job, and I got a divorce. So I decided to take my pain and turn it into a passion, and I was able to propel through divorce, COVID, and all of the things to launch my company. So then I became a full-time entrepreneur. I invested into an event venue, partnered with a great partner, and so now we were able to grow our brand. What I love most about the event industry, like you said, you have to be crazy. So you have to be resilient. You have to be able to roll with the punches. No event is the same. And each time you go to an event, it's a challenge, but I think that's the adrenaline rush for me because I want to just top what I did the last event to make it for the next success.
Wow, that is an amazing story. I would love to hear really quickly from each of you how long you have been Goodshuffle Pro users, and then we'll start officially with our first question.
August of 2018.
August of 2021?
Thought you were trying to one-up them for a second there.
No, I was trying to think about it, yeah.
I came in prepared for that one.
Yeah, and I started at the end of 2019 as well.
Amazing.
I was actually going to ask you, when did you just start billing me? You could tell me.
All right, first question. So what we're going to start with is some real success stories straight from the field. So what we're going to do is I'm going to walk through a few questions that highlight what each of you are working on in your business and give our audience some tangible inspiration of, what is making you three so successful. So our first question is, can you all share a recent event that was a big success for your business and what made it so successful? And Nick, we'll start with you.
So Eddie, I was thinking about this question. When you say event, do you mean event? Or do you mean like an event, like we do?
Ooh.
Oh.
How do you want to interpret it?
So
Did you prepare both answers?
a little bit. As I was sharing with Ariana from my team, who is here with me today, we were trying to prepare for this question. And these days it's a little bit difficult question for me to answer because I can't think of one thing that has happened recently. We've been, early on, and especially coming out of COVID, there were a lot of small events that felt like huge successes at the time and big wins. And I'm not saying we don't have those anymore. Now the big successes seem to be our focus on process or implementing systems. And I mean, this is where Goodshuffle comes into play. So I would say in the last year or so, maybe 2 years, our biggest success has been our focus on implementing these processes and systems that help us streamline. They help us deliver a better product to our customers. And really just the consistency, staying very consistent with our mission of refining these processes. So that's why I asked that. I can't say that there's one single thing that's happened, but once we got past all those, and I love the problem solving, and I love the wins that we get when we crush a Saturday, but now it's how, what are the things that are happening that are helping us build a stronger foundation in our business. So to your point, over the last 2 years, we have had a huge focus on implementing systems and processes in our business, and that has been very successful for us.
That's a great answer.
So for me, I mentioned that client that challenged me to start my business and made me do all of the things, right? So my recent success was I just did a movie premiere for them on Friday. The guest count was 3,500 guests. And the challenge was, this is a full circle moment, right? You had me start a business, and now you're giving me the task of your largest event. So where my biggest success is we were able to streamline everything and not stress, because we had the pull sheets, we had everything broken down of each different area that we were going in this one building, what we needed to build, what we needed to bring, what was the timeline, and I was able to give all of my vendors and my staff photos of, hey, pipe and drape, we got to do 90 feet of here, here, here. And so it was just so easy because I was able to give direction and everybody owned their part. And we got it done in 2 days, and we were able to actually enjoy the premiere. So it was kind of like it showed how we grew. So that was our full circle moment.
I have to ask, what is the movie?
So my largest client is a church. It's a mega church in Baltimore. They have 8,000 members. The pastor has been serving for 50 years. He's retiring. And because he served so long, they wanted to document his life in ministry. And what they did was they took a premiere and they made a documentary over the 50 years of his tenure there. And they brought everyone that served with him over the 50 years, his current congregation. And we basically turned the church into an Oscar-themed movie theater. And it was a red carpet event. We had live Oscar statues, and people were able to come there, celebrate with him, but you never felt like you were at a church.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it
was it a surprise for him, or was
he knew he was having a premiere. He never saw the documentary. He
Wow.
didn't know what was going on. So seeing the footage and the photos of all of the elements and the surprises, you could see he was very happy.
Yeah, and that's great too to see when your clients and
Yeah.
customers are happy too. Howie.
Yeah, I mean, to share, to play off Nick, we do so many events in a year and so many fantastic different opportunities that we get to be creative. But one of the things that I found that has helped us was in 21, when we were coming out of the pandemic and we were creating a strategy for the company and implementing processes, we had interviewed many softwares. Because at the time, our contracts and our presentations were being done via Word or PDFs, which is the way most small businesses. And to create a quote and then a contract would take us about 35 minutes. And one of the younger guys in my company who was very tech savvy says, I'm going to put in front of you a couple of different softwares. And softwares that will trim that time in half. And one of them was Goodshuffle. And what it did was, if you know the platform, you have on a quote the image, the description, and the price. And what we did was, like in the image section, we would go in for any particular item, create a gallery of what that item was. So when we meet with a client or we present to a client and they open it up on their computer, they see a gallery of what it's going to look like at their event, a description of everything they're getting, and a price. And I believe that that has helped us when we were bidding against competitors who didn't have as savvy as a presentation, secure some of the bigger events that we have done.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you get brownie points for that because your recent event was joining Goodshuffle, and that helped grow your business.
You know,
Awesome.
there you go.
I love to hear it. All right. Next question. Have you guys experimented with any creative or unconventional ideas recently that yielded positive results? Kia, we'll start with you for this one.
So I'll say creative for me. I love the website integration feature in Goodshuffle. And so it helps us with, organizing our inventory. But like you said, the photos are a big thing because our client likes to see what they're getting and what we offer. So what we did was we took all of our inventory and we made it into a decor catalog. And what I did was I took the catalog, I printed it out, I made it a book. And then I took the price sheet, made it separately, and I went around to all of the local hotels, catering companies in my area, and I said, hey, I'm in the area, we own this business, we're around the corner, this is what we offer, and we offer in-store pickup, and you can just pick it up, provide it to your customers, and they can bring it back, so on and so forth. And just by being able to shop the book and then click the link to go to our website, you click arch or backdrop or whatever, and you see, okay, it lines up with the same photo, I can shop it, I can send the wish list over to me, and then they can get their stuff, right on the spot. And I think that the key for that is, with the integration, is the response time that you get back to the customer. So when you get that email that you said you have a wish list coming to you, if you respond to them in a good amount of time, then you're definitely going to get the sale.
It's a really cool idea to print out the book and bring it around too. Awesome. Howie, same
Yeah,
question.
so very similarly, we find that clients are very visual. They want to read less and they want to just see more, and those visual inspirations will make them make a decision quicker than anything. So yeah, we're experimenting with a lot of the visuals and videos and things, and you know, also through Goodshuffle, yes, we're trying to maximize the potential of the software, but we're also, you know, working outside of that as well as a company just to utilize the latest technology for creating our brand and delivering that message.
Yeah. When you say videos, what videos are you incorporating into your sort of marketing?
IG has been huge. We realize now that you could create a video. We could be in the office just having a strategy meeting or a coffee meeting and make a quick video, make it funny, tell a story. We find that a lot of customers want to be brought into your story. They want to, not just what you offer or what you say is the value, but you go behind the scenes, the BTS footage, both on an event, on events, at the office, how we come up with ideas. We bring customers into that process. We create little videos so that when they see the finished product, we show them the video that sparked the creative idea.
Yeah.
And how simple that was, and now look how it translated into this thing that we're producing at the event. And people like that journey, if you will.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like the sort of inside look into the business and get to
Yeah.
know the people behind the actual industry. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Nick, same question. Unconventional ideas.
Psychedelics. No, I'm kidding. So the most creative thing we ever did, this has nothing to do with Goodshuffle. I tried to think about this question, but you know, as event professionals or folks that are in this industry, we have a lot of customers that are always demanding something new and different from us. And I like to try and do that. I do. And you waste a lot of time and money on bad ideas, but every once in a while you just like hit the mark really good on a good one. So the most creative thing we did was to actually build a giant light bright some years ago. If any of you know our company, you kind of know us as having this giant light bright. And the reason I bring this up is this one product that we built and made for, really it was just for one event planner at the time, this was back in 2014, kind of launched us into a whole new space in the industry. We started getting noticed by the DMCs. That's a destination management company for all of you out there. That's a great resource, right? We started getting noticed by other companies for something creative and unconventional that we had done, and it kind of it got me thinking that okay, if you can come up with something new and different, and if it latches on, it's not just that you're going to rent out that product or that you're going to be able to make money on it. You now have a new avenue into getting new customers or getting on people's radar or creating new relationships. So for me, finding new products to offer, finding something that no one else is doing, it's not just about creating that one product that I'm going to be able to rent and potentially profit from. It's a new way to get relationships with customers, with people that I didn't have the opportunity to work with before because we're doing something new and different and they're noticing us. So that was one where it really hit the mark. We built these, again, they're 8 foot wide, 4 feet tall. We started building them back in 2014. We ended up manufacturing them too for a while. I didn't want to be in manufacturing, but I say manufacturing, this is like us in a warehouse, like assembling these things. But we probably made over 100 of them in the course of 3 or 4 years, shipped them to different, there are probably companies on this call that have one, or on the virtual call, you may have one of our light brights. Hello, I hope it's still working. If not, you can reach out to me. And it was just such a boon to our business. So, to be honest, yeah, I'm always looking for that next unconventional creative thing, not just because I want the notoriety of being like, look, we did something unconventional creative, but I saw the opportunity that gave us to just enter into whole new parts of the market or just get the attention of new customers. Brands love that stuff too. So don't just look at those ideas as a way to, hey, how am I going to generate more revenue off of this? There's so many avenues for expanding your business by just doing something new and creative.
Yeah, that's amazing. You have the loyalty from the customers that you've been working with for a long time, and then you unleash these new ideas to try to pull in some new customers with something creative. Very cool. Next question. Have you guys noticed any recent shifts in client expectations or any recent industry trends? Howie, we'll kick it off with you this time.
Recent client expectations. Well, let's be honest. All of our clients' expectations are very, very high. And what I noticed prior to the pandemic was they were rude and they had no boundaries. They figured they were paying, I want what I want, and then we got shut down. And when we came back, I made it a point to say, I'm not gonna let clients cross boundaries or whatever. We're gonna deliver everything that we say we will, but it has to be done respectfully and, mutually respectfully. So our clients are still very demanding, but I think the pandemic has also taught everybody to be a little bit more forgiving and understanding and not so, I needed it yesterday. Industry trends, that changes daily. Unfortunately, from the event production, as far as new ideas, I haven't seen a lot of new stuff. I'm going to be truthful. To kind of jump off of the previous question into this one, one of the things I did in New Year's, after New Year's, was I said, I want to launch a new product, a new service. It was very ambitious, one every quarter. Some new service to put me ahead of my competition. And so I made a list of every national show, IAPA, NAMM, you name it, lighting, sound, entertainment. And I've been going to all of these trade shows, and I have unfortunately yet to see anything groundbreaking that's going to change the trends for the next few years. The few items in the photo booth industry that I have seen that could be groundbreaking, unfortunately, are only in their stage one, and they're not ready for the mass public yet. So we're I don't think the creativity in the new products idea has fully taken off since the pandemic. We got our eye on it.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you mentioned pre-pandemic, there were a lot of rude customers, which we've all dealt with. What did you change post-pandemic? I know you mentioned, you're not going to take this anymore from those customers. What did you do?
Setting
and how did you let them know that?
expectations and processes for the way we handle them. And yeah, that is probably the biggest thing. Hey, we have a process for this. We have a way to do it. And our reputation, of course, speaks for itself. So we're not going to let you down, but this is how we're going to communicate, and this is how things are going to be delivered. And as long as you manage their expectations and they feel heard and responded to, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, and like you said, your reputation speaks for itself.
Yes.
Trust the professionals to run the event.
Exactly.
Very cool. Nick?
Yeah, so to Howie's point, I actually so for me, I'm kind of focused on these days, as far as the event industry go or industry trends, I stay pretty focused on what I do, and we're niched down quite a bit. I mean, we're on the entertainment side, we bring all the fun stuff to events. So I also feel like there's been nothing really new or groundbreaking that I've seen in the last few years on the side of what I do. I think coming out of the pandemic, the client expectations, whether or not they were there, they seem to, the transactions have just been moving really quickly. I find that people love, this is one of the reasons I switched to Goodshuffle anyways, but I feel like there's less back and forth, and people if you have a good system in place, which Goodshuffle allows us to do, a good process, I find that I guess what I'm getting at is these are some high ticket items. These are some and people are kind of signing off on them quickly. So one industry trend I saw is that there seemed to be a lot of money going around post-pandemic for a while. So that people's budgets went up a lot. The expectations, to Howie's point, I think there was a period of time coming out of the pandemic where everybody was a little bit rusty, and I think we had a little bit of a grace period. That's gone away. People, they expect perfection. They really do. And they know they're not going to get it all the time, especially behind the scenes, but I think your clients, they believe that that's what they're getting. So we're always aiming to kind of give them as much of that as possible. For industry trends, I'm gonna just real quick, I'll speak to what I'm seeing. We actually, as far as anything new, no, we focus on a lot of old stuff. Everybody wants like retro games and things like that. So one thing that's kind of fun is seeing a shift from, I call them the decision makers in companies, or so for a while the decision makers were all into like 80s games, and you could see they were all like Gen X and things, and now slowly we're seeing like the millennials taking over decision making. So I'm buying NBA Jams and Street Fighter and like Mortal Kombat, and all my favorite games. So that's one, you know, as the decision makers are changing, maybe this is something to pay attention to in the, you know, you might see changes in what they want. What are they into? You know, maybe they're not into like, again, speak to what I do. They're not into Pac-Man. They're not into like old retro, like giant light brights. They may be into something from, you know, if they're celebrating, they may be into something from the 90s, right? So kind of paying attention to who the decision makers are and how that's changing as well. Also, another thing is, you know, in any industry now, if you're not, you know, paying attention to your SEO, if you're not even like maybe spending some money on Google ads, if you're not really, you know, making sure you're showing up. I know that was important before, but the competition just to fight for that front page on Google or whatever is so hard these days. So that's something that I think everyone needs to pay attention to. That's not going away. And also finding new avenues for advertising, you know, your business. You do need to be looking at social. You need to be looking at all these different avenues because the competition, I mean, it's there. And the tools are making it easier and easier for people to do it. You can outsource it. So that's something I noticed coming out of the pandemic. A lot more small companies like mine, small event companies, investing in not just their SEO, but Google ads and Facebook ads and things like that. So that's something to pay attention to as well.
Yeah, I love the trend of Gen X to millennial. And as you were naming retro games, I was like, oh, I hope he says Mortal Kombat. And I heard you start to say it. So that's awesome. And great plug for SEO. We do have a session later this afternoon with one of our marketing experts talking more about SEO as well. Kia.
So decor is big for our business. And client expectations, we always have the client that comes in with a Pinterest photo, right? And they're like, oh, I want this. And, you know, they don't understand like the breakdown of like how much to produce these elements are gonna cost. So their expectations are always high and their expectations don't always match their budget, you know? So it becomes like a conversation piece of like, let me show you how all of these elements come together to bring down your total cost. So I think that that's always evolving. You do have the clients nowadays that are willing to spend the money, or they know exactly what it costs and they just want to make it happen, so they don't have like a cap on their budget. But then you have the other baby shower where I want this phenomenal baby shower, but I only have $5,000. So that becomes a thing, right? In terms of industry trends, I will say that the pandemic helped me learn that we birthed a lot of DIYers during the pandemic, right? People had to get creative and tap into their own juices, and now they want to do events, they want to produce things, but they don't want to own the stuff. So that's where my rentals came into play. It's like build a showroom, show them what we have. You are a DIYer, come get our stuff, rent it, have a great event, produce it, make it great, and then bring us the stuff back. So we were able to cater to a different market of clients because now people want to have a personal touch on their own events, but they don't want to own the stuff and they have nothing to do with it later. So rentals became a big thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. They, you know, discovered their own passion during the pandemic when they were locked in the house for 4 years. And they're like, oh, I love to put together these spaces, but I don't want to own this random boutique couch or anything like that. Yeah, awesome. All right, let's shift a little bit more to the behind-the-scenes work. So how has Goodshuffle Pro, this is a Goodshuffle Pro user summit, so we do have to talk about Goodshuffle, but how has Goodshuffle Pro impacted your day-to-day operations? And that can be from 2019, 2021, when you guys started, until now, with all these new features, too. Nick.
Okay. Yeah. So I will go back all the way to 2018. The reason I was searching for a new software solution is I had a very old one that did not allow for online payments, online signing of contracts. So all I wanted to do, and I just wanted to get people to give me money faster. And, you know, cash is king, we all know that. Cash flow is so important. I was looking for a solution that just allowed for online signatures and they could just pay right there. So first and foremost, Goodshuffle early on, again, we're talking 2018, not all these features were there, but it had, you know, inventory tracking, and that feature, people could just sign the contract and make the deposit payment or whatever type of payment system we put in place. But that was the first one that, I mean, really just kind of streamlined cash flow. It helped things come in faster. I slept on a few other features that I should have added earlier on. The website wishlist integration, I was constantly because we'll switch out our inventory, we'll add new things to inventory, and I was constantly adding things to my booking or maybe Goodshuffle, and then I was also having to update my website, which was clunky and a pain to do. And what I do is very just product-based. This may not work for everyone, but now I put a piece of inventory in Goodshuffle, I put the description in there, and then that's automatically updated on the website with the tags. So I cannot say enough good things about the wishlist integration, and then also getting the wishlist requests. I mean, what a great way to get leads in the door. So that's been a good one for me. On the operations or on the back-end finances, I finally did the QuickBooks integration. And so I'm going to say, I was sleeping on that one for a while, and I was like, no, I don't need this. This is stupid. And I finally did it. And I love it because, I mean, the way the numbers look in the books now, the way the invoices are imported so quickly, once you get through, and just talk to Colin, will help you out. Don't worry. Colin will help. He's a whiz. I spent a little time just cleaning up some stuff, but it's great now, and I don't really have to think about it, and my numbers are so much more accurate. So I really like the QuickBooks integration. You all do, inventory tracking is a must, right? Or inventory control. Those are things that we all have. When you guys finally introduced the email templates, that's been a great one. Because again, my goal is to also get people, I'm just trying to find ways to get them through the sales process, to shorten that sales cycle, right? So you can use your email templates for that. I could probably go on, but I would say those
Leave me something to talk about. Okay.
Yeah, you got anything? Okay, sorry. But those were my top three: the just streamlined payments, wishlist integration, QuickBooks integration. So
I love that. I think you mentioned a few times sleep or features you were sleeping on. I'm sure everyone here is sleeping on some sort of Goodshuffle feature. Take the time to reach out to our customer success team and ask about it. It can change the way you operate. So Nick, what feature are you sleeping on right now?
I want to learn more about dispatch, but I don't know if it'll work for whenever the Goodshuffle folks, because we are local to DC, when they come to our office, I definitely push back on a few things. I go, that won't work for us. But I said that about things before. I go, that won't work for us, and then maybe I'll learn more, and maybe that's something that'll work for us.
There you go. We have that recorded. Colin, he wants to learn more about dispatch. Write that down.
He's already got me scheduled. I just got the Calendly link.
Awesome. Kia.
I feel like I'm the poster child for the website integration. So when I joined Goodshuffle, I needed a contract system that was easy, but then I was able to manage all my inventory, and I did push back on the website integration for a long time. And it was because I was a GoDaddy user. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know anything about Squarespace. I don't want to change. And I was being really stubborn, right? But then I got it. They helped me with it. And so then it showed me the value of everything. And so I love it. But one of the things that also helped our business is in the venue that I partner with, it's me and one other owner. And with using the portal, we're able to sell the ballroom spaces because we have 3. And it helps us not oversell the ballroom because now we have a tracking system of, okay, what's our availability, what's the time gap, so on and so forth. And before, because it was multi-people, we were using Microsoft Word. So we ran into a lot of situations where we might have oversold a date and we didn't know until it's the day of the event and we have 2 different clients showing up. So that's helped us a lot. And then also in the portal that helps us is just the flow of the event. So managing when you pay your deposit, when your final payment is due, and then even down to the refundable security deposit that we refund back to them. We're able to do everything through Goodshuffle and then manage the system. So then everybody on my team has a copy of the workflow so they can read the messages, they can see the history of the customer and the lifespan, and it's able to be more organized with that.
Yeah, I love using Goodshuffle for the rentals piece, the decor piece, the venues piece, and it all works together, and you have that inventory tracking right there. So like you said, you're never going to overbook again, which is amazing. Howie?
Yeah, to touch back on what I said earlier was not only has it enabled us to present much nicer professional quotes and use visuals and descriptions to secure new business, but yes, the fact that it is directly tied to our inventory is huge because, you know, we do maybe 300 events a year, but a lot of them fall on certain weekends where we call it D-Day, you know, and everybody in that industry, this year, we know it's May 17th. You're laughing because you know, I'm getting calls from months ago. Everything is falling on that day, and there's only so much inventory. So it's easy for me as a salesperson to just sell, 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 and Goodshuffle, wait, stop. You are out of inventory. You cannot sell this on this day, where I'd rather know in advance than have my production guy come in and say, hey, we oversold 2 video walls that we don't have. That's not a quick fix. So Goodshuffle does that. But what it also does then is it creates an awesome pull sheet. And the pull sheet not only just says, okay, here are the items and the quantities, but for our newer guys in the warehouse, shows pictures of what the items look like, so that now they have a visual like our clients do, and it makes the process from point of sale through coordination to execution and production of the event very, very seamless. I am very curious, though, about the barcoding. Dispatch, yeah, I'm on the fence about dispatch, but barcoding sounds very interesting to me, because if we have a way now, right now we're checking each box by hand as the truck gets loaded, but if we have 8 trucks and guys could just scan and the computer says, hey, you've got everything you need, God, that would save us a lot of budget overruns when you get to the event, realize you don't have everything because it was hand-checked, and have to send a truck back.
Yeah.
So I see that technology helping us a lot and saving us money.
Yeah, barcoding is all about saving time and money and
Yes.
optimizing it to make it more efficient. Write that down.
And don't forget that they made a way for us to have a label maker so that they can provide us with that, so that we can do everything, print the labels, and we don't have to figure out a software or a company to give us the stuff for the labels too. So it seems
Go
really easy.
Goodshuffle.
Okay, Kia, thank you, thank you.
Can I talk about one more feature? This is probably the most powerful feature that you all aren't even, I don't know if you know, you should know. Read receipts.
Oh, yes.
Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes.
Read receipts. That's how you know if you're cut. And read receipts are my favorite thing. So in your email messages with, shh, don't tell anybody outside of this meeting or the group. So you go in like your messages with your customer in Goodshuffle, and you can see if they've read your email, just the read receipt. And to me, that has been such a great way to, so I send a quote. Then the next day, I go in and I'm like, all right, did they see that email?
Client viewed the
Client viewed the
contract
email, right? And you go,
deadline.
okay, so they've seen it. First of all, I know they got it, okay? Listen, I love you all, Goodshuffle. I still have to tell people to check their spam folders, okay? It's not your fault, I'm sure. But anyways, no, but I know they got it. But then, like, you can use that. It's not, I mean, I don't want to say, I don't feel bad about it. I mean, the tool is there, but I get to see if they've checked the email. Have they come back to it? Are they seeing the automatic emails? Are they, okay, this person, they've seen every email. They're not interested. Okay, I can get rid of this quote. Or, hey, they checked this email again like a week later. Maybe they are still interested in this quote. And you're just playing a little bit of the, a little psychological game, but then that gives you the impetus. Maybe I need to reach back out to them and touch base with them. So read receipts and are one of my favorite features that has been there since the beginning that I think is completely underrated. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and I have another one, the log feature, where you can actually see the cycle of the contract. So we have a lot of people where they'll have a venue contract, you pay a deposit to lock in the date. Your final payment is due 30 days out. And we get 2 weeks out and we're getting ready to cancel you because you didn't pay your final bill. And they're like, oh no, I never got it. I never saw the email. And I'm like, oh no, ma'am. You opened this email on May the 17th. You opened it on the 25th. So, you did get it. And so I'm within my right to cancel you because you didn't follow through with your obligation.
Basically, it takes away the whole, I didn't see it. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yep.
And Goodshuffle says, yes, you did.
We have the receipts.
Yeah.
Tools help, information helps, and knowing everything will help your sales process. That's why all of these little things, and we all take different things from it, all of these are to help us close more business.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you guys mentioned D-Day coming up, May 17th. We're entering busy season, and I know busy season can feel like a whirlwind sometimes. In what ways does Goodshuffle Pro help you feel more confident when you're heading into busy season?
Inventory management for me, because I know how many of which tablecloth I may have, where it has to go. We can kind of look at a list. Like everyone up here said, I'm really interested in barcoding because some things like chairs and couches we have in different locations. So if we can create a barcoding system to say, this is what we have, we sent this rental out, we checking it back in, and we don't have to have a person manually do 300 Chivari chairs, that would be a game changer for us because we would save so much time.
Time is money.
Yeah.
Yeah, to her point, we're a service operation, but we have a lot of products that we use to deliver that service. Knowing what we have and what we can and cannot deliver adds confidence, and it adds confidence a couple of ways. One, it adds confidence that we're not going to oversell something and create a problem for ourselves on a day when we know we can't call our fellow vendors and ask for help because everybody is slammed. But it also gives us confidence as a business to say, okay, we hit our numbers. Our inventory is out. We're making money. And that's a different kind of confidence that makes us feel great and gives us, benchmark moving forward.
Yeah.
So, that information is key.
Yeah. You want your shelves to be empty, and that's a good feeling.
I want my warehouse empty every weekend.
Yes.
I have to agree with them. If you're coming into busy season, then, if I'm confident in the inventory tracking in Goodshuffle, then I know we can just start cranking out, quotes. And as long as nothing overlaps or is double booked, I can just keep putting out more quotes without worrying about double booking anything. One of the other things that coming into busy season that we're working on too is maybe adding a little bit more automation to our sales process so that as we get busier, we're still, and I'd like them to be like authentic client touch points. It's not always super authentic when it's an automatic email, but you can use the automatic emails after the quotes get sent just to make sure that you're not missing that follow-up with the customer. I mean, as it gets busy, it's going to be really hard to send a quote out and then make sure to follow up the next day. So we use those the automatic reminders, not as like a reminder to hey, make sure you pay this quote. It's more just I'm using them as like touch points right after we
to stay on their mind.
Just to stay on their mind. And so as we're getting busier, I know I can tap into that a little bit more. It's not my favorite way. I want it to be, I like that I'm actually writing an email to you, the customer, potential customer. But if I have to, I can lean on these automatic emails.
It does help when it comes to following up for payment.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's one thing to call them up, hey, have you made a decision? That's one touch point. But calling them and reminding them about money, nobody wants to do that. And nobody wants to take that call as much as we don't like making it. But the system sets that up for us. So, hey, you owe this money, and it helps us collect.
And
we can see if they read it. And we can see if they read it.
That's right.
And that's the other thing during busy season. It's great that you're doing all these events, but depending on what your payment policy is, you may be collecting deposits. So, for example, our payment policy is, it's a 25% deposit, and then we collect the remaining balance the week of the event. But we get busy. Sometimes we're not collecting. So anything that can help. You don't want your AR to start right. You come in on a Monday and you're like, oh crap, there's a lot. And then now sure, you can spend some time to try and go out and collect that money, but that's time spent away from generating new business. And so there's a little bit of the if you tap into more of that automation of just collecting those payments. There's some subset of people that are always just going to click to pay. There's some subset that you're always going to have to chase them down for payments.
And one piece of advice for anybody who's been in business a while or is new in business. I understand that different businesses vary in the way you will get paid, but you always want to be paid whenever possible before the event. On Monday, unfortunately, the client is in the driver's seat. When you're calling the week before, you're in control. And let's say the party goes over great, but you weren't paid. The client was thrilled. All of a sudden on Monday, when the balance is due, they found something they have a problem with. And in this business, that happens 75% of the time. It is human nature. Everything was wonderful on Monday. Well, yeah, listen, I know I owe you money, but, I didn't hear that song the DJ promised to play. We're going to take $400 off, So having those reminders, the people we know that they know, and helps us keep the cash flow. Also protects us from taking a happy client on Saturday and making it an uncomfortable situation on Monday, which then could also affect the way they would review you online or refer you to a customer. You want to keep it as smooth, seamless, and positive as possible, and avoid the whole human nature thing.
Can't stand human nature. Okay. I was going to say, we started early, so I feel like we can keep talking, and I just got the +1. So we have one more question Yeah, I'm going to save time for questions because I do want to hear questions from everyone on Zoom and everyone here. But I have one more question, and we want to get into the lessons learned and key takeaways piece. And one thing that we do at Goodshuffle is, we service people who have been in the business for a long time, since 2018, since way before 2018. And then we also have people who are brand new to the events industry, and they're getting started with Goodshuffle Pro in that way. So with one question, I want to, leave people with some hot advice. What advice would you give to event professionals looking to grow their business in today's market?
Oh, okay. Well, I think if you ask any professional, they're going to say, I know this and I know that. It's human nature to go to what you're good at. I would say, know what you don't know. Learn the things. It's not what you know that will hurt you in business. It's what you don't know that'll kill your business. So be open-minded. Be open to learning the things you don't know. And if you don't know them and don't want to learn them, be smart enough to hire someone who's really good, who does know them. And have a plan. Be dedicated every day, have a plan, and follow that plan, whether it's a business plan, a financial plan, or a combination of that with marketing. It's not easy, but it's doable. You just have to be really, really dedicated and disciplined.
Oh, me, Nick.
Okay.
Your turn, buddy.
All right.
The NYX show.
All right. For now, I have 0 seconds left.
Well,
You know what? It's been great. When I was first starting out, I think I was so I really think you just have to focus on it's hustling in sales. I hate to say it, it's just so simple when you're small. Like, the formula is not that difficult, but you have to really be hungry in the beginning. You have to chase down sales. You have to be outworking your competition. I really do believe that. And your competition could just be, your own perception of what's out there. It doesn't have to be that there's this real competitor that you're trying to outperform. You kind of just have to assume that everyone's trying to outperform you. And if you're really serious about this, and if this is a business where you're saying, look, I'm going to grow this into something that, maybe supports me or supports a family, like, you really have to, like, hustle hard in the beginning to create a foundation. If you don't have that strong foundation, you're not going to be able to grow the business from that. But that first, and I don't know that it's not necessarily a revenue number, but there's some period of time where you're just going to grind it out. And that's okay. So focus on that in the beginning. And the top thing that you need to be focusing on is sales. Someone could disagree with me. I don't care. You're not going to, like, if you're not getting cash in the door, you're not going to be able to grow. You're not going to be able to do anything.
Mark Cuban said it best. There's one thing every business needs. Without it, it fails. Customers.
Exactly.
The one thing.
And all of you, if you're a business owner, you're first and foremost, you're a salesperson. You're probably the best salesperson for your business. That's the other thing. When you're starting out, do not delegate sales. Do not give someone else. Do not, when you're first starting out, you are going to be the best salesperson for your business. So I think it's not the best thing. Again, if this is my advice, okay, you do what you want with it. But really own that shit. Own that stuff. Like, you have to own sales in your business. So that's my biggest thing. Like, when you're first starting out, keep your focus on sales. Some of that other stuff, it can come a little bit later. You'll learn. You may step in something, and you're like, oh, okay, I learned from that. But you're just gonna have to hustle and grind. I'm sorry, it's not that eloquent, but that's kind of how that's how.
And it's not easy.
No.
Okay, if you want easy, go somewhere else. If it was easy to build a company successfully, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would have big houses and Mercedes. It's not. That's why there's only a select few that could withstand that pressure and that discipline long enough to reach success. Is it obtainable? Yeah, but you have to swim through a lot of crap and years to get there.
And I'll just piggyback on what you guys said, because everything you said was totally spot on. I think that you have to make sure that you continue to push. And when you're swimming, when you're having great days, bad days, you always have to push, because you're going to get out of your business what you put into it. And I think the key for starting a business is finding your niche. I want to be an event planner. I want to be a decorator. I want to own rentals, but you can't do all at one time. You have to be great at one thing first, and then truly, like, hone in on that to make it profitable first, and then expand when you can. And I think another tip that really people miss the mark on is we need to be in a society where we know that it's okay to have collaboration over competition. There are going to be events every day. There are all different types of events and different type of companies, but what if you could be in the same area with someone that does the same thing as you, and you guys mentor each other to use best practices to see how that you both can win? Or it may be the two of you guys, I didn't meet you till today. I didn't know that you guys have similar products, but you can, when you have D-Day, if you don't have any availability, you can call NYX company and you guys can kind of work together. I think that's okay, so that we're giving a message to the customer that we are all here to serve you. Customer service is our big thing, and we're going to make it happen by any means necessary.
One thing to also keep in mind in this business, and Nick and I know this, when I first started, everything was competition. Oh, I'm competing against him, and I got to get this job over there. Monday through Friday, we're on different teams. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we are all on the same team. If you are in the events industry, no matter who your competition is, Monday through Thursday, when the weekend comes and those events are happening, we're all on the same team with the same goal, to deliver to our clients the best service or product that we can. And there is nothing wrong with keeping great relationships with your fellow vendors, because one day they're going to bail you out, and you'll have the opportunity to do the same for them, and you'll notice that it's better to collaborate in certain times than to compete.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify one thing. You know, I was using the word, and to Key and Howie's point, I mean, I'm using the word competition, but sometimes it really, when you're first starting out, it's not even your competitors. It's just everything's trying to crush your business. Nothing wants you to succeed. You know, everything's going to go, so really it's just about overcoming all of those challenges. So sometimes the outworking is, whether you're outworking your competitors or you're just trying to outrun, you know, disaster in the beginning. I know that sounds, I'm making it sound really harsh, but I think a lot of you who are starting, you understand what that means. It's a grind, but I also thought maybe something a little bit more actual, like, okay, we're all talking about how, okay, you got to grind, you got to hustle. So what's something that's a little bit more actual than me just telling you, like, hey, go work really, really hard? One thing that I've started to learn more recently that I wish I had learned earlier, now that I got a little bit more of a foundation here, I mean, we're still a really small business, is knowing my numbers. And I got to be honest, I did not, for a long time, I have not, I mean, I knew we were doing well, you know, I'm still here, but I wasn't really accurate on my numbers, and that's been a bit of a game changer. We've been tracking more numbers, whether these are like, you know, profit numbers or like conversion rates, or, so once you start to get some, of a foundation, I would say another thing to really be aware of is your numbers. Whether that's has so much to do with today's market, maybe it's any market, but really start to focus on your numbers once you have time for that.
It's knowing what you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And the numbers, as he's saying, is so, so, so important. I'm not an accountant, and most of us shy away from numbers and percentages and stuff, but you have to learn the unsexy things in order to do the sexy things. It's like, oh, we're gonna have a new office, we're gonna do this, we're gonna get new trucks. Those are fun things. It's the unsexy decisions and things we learn that build a company, the things that we want to avoid.
Yeah, we have you guys for a couple more minutes. I do want to give the audience a chance to ask you all some questions. You guys have a lot of great advice. I would love to hear some more.
Where do you find them barcodes that stays on stuff?
We have so the Zebra label printer is what we partner with, and then there is a certain label that can go in it called Dura something. Andrew, do you know the name of the label? The durable labels? Dura label, yeah. And it's all on our help center. We link to all the links that you need.
Thanks, you guys. I know, Nick, you specifically were talking about it, but it sounds like all of you benefit from systems and like standard operating procedures. As somebody with my company that is a lot more analytical, like I'm the organizational brain, and I work with a lot of incredible creatives that maybe have some difficulty. We have difficulty speaking to each other. So do you have any advice for how to kind of like bridge that gap between necessary organizational processes while still leaving room for a lot of creativity and innovation?
In meetings or in general?
I would say like in general, particularly like helping produce event, we do a lot of like event production with like custom fabrication and like furniture. And so how can I help my team leave space for creativity and like new innovation while also instituting some standard practices to make sure that we can deliver on these promises to the client? It's a big question, sorry.
No, it's funny because I have a lot of creatives in I have the entertainment side of things, we have the decor side, both highly creative people, and then we have the production, which are very like matter of fact. This goes here, that goes there. Every business can break down the processes from the reverse engineer it from here's the finished product, reverse engineer it down to where the quote first goes out, and then literally create a process. And it's different for every business. You answer questions. Well, what do we need to do? Okay, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. Keep it simple. You don't want to have too many processes. But in between those processes is where the creativity thrives. But the processes is what takes the creativity and actually gets them to complete. And you keep them in the process, and everybody follows the same process, so it's almost like an organized chaos, but you're controlling it. Because I know you let a bunch of creatives go in a room, and they're flying all over the place, and you walk out of the meeting, what did we accomplish? Well, we have some great ideas, yeah, okay, so yes, processes, and here's another piece of advice. I mean, I started working out of my parents' house, you know, at 15 years old, DJing block parties. And I always saw myself as just that kid working out of a house. And now, you know, we have a company with staff and crew and all of this. And what I realized was processes and, you know, writing them out and giving everybody a treasure map to, you know, to success or a thing to follow really helps the company grow, and it helps keep people accountable. It keeps production on target. And it could be whether it's a numbers meeting and we want to hit certain numbers, a process for that. It could be a process for taking a creative idea, turning it into an actual product or service that you offer, or even the production of a show, giving people step by step, not too many steps, but enough to create the solution will help. And then making sure they follow it. That's the hardest.
I just have one thing to add to that. We implemented, I was just looking for, you know, I kind of separate what we do as a business versus like running the business and the systems that we need to put in place there. And I became aware of something called EOS. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. There's all kinds of ways to run your business. This is really just a framework for it. So you could also check out EOS. And it is I mean, there's a book called Traction. There's a whole system behind it. There's actually a whole community of people that run their business in this way now, so you have a lot of support systems. But it really just breaks down everything that I say that we've, you know, implemented with process. It's, well, there's a process for how to implement process. And so check out EOS, and that's something that could really help. Ultimately, what we were trying to do is deliver a consistent product to our customers, and this has been one of the things that has allowed us to do that. It's, you know, it's a work in progress. We've been doing it for 2 years, and we're still kind of working on implementing this way of operating our business.
Awesome. Thank you.
Amazing.
We are going to do one more from Mallory from the chat.
A couple of you mentioned that you weren't sure Dispatch was going to work for you, but then also mentioned being really open-minded about Goodshuffle Pro as a product and how it solves problems. What do you know to be true about Goodshuffle's product team that would give you confidence to give features that you're not sure about a try?
I'll take it. I know that the biggest thing I can say is support. I was unfamiliar with things, and I got phenomenal support. I still get phenomenal support. So if, you know, you guys teach me it, I'm willing to take a stab at it and try. And, you know, I think that because we know that the value in this brand and that we're going to have the constant support, I think that makes it a little bit more easier for us to try things. I can tell you a quick story. Araceli, I was having some issues with my website, and it was trying to figure out a code injection, and I was like racking my brain. I had asked all these different questions in the chat, couldn't figure it out, and I called her, and she took a look at it, and we couldn't figure out exactly what I was doing wrong. But when she did figure it out, she made me a video so that I had a reference point to go back to when I couldn't call her, later or whatever, so that I can go back and update the website with the different codes. So I'm gonna say customer service has been the biggest thing for this brand for me. So I think I'm open to try a lot of different things that's unfamiliar to me because I know I have the support system.
That's such a great point, Kia. Like, the customer service and the customer support, and I can speak to this with the QuickBooks integration. It was, I was really nervous about doing that because, you're messing with your books, you're integrating, and, I was able to work with Colin over multiple sessions to make this work for us. And every time, whether it's a small issue that you can enter into the chat or a larger issue that you need to schedule some time with them, but also knowing that they also have a process, Goodshuffle has a process for implementing new features. I remember early on, they'd come to us and say, well, we're looking at all this stuff. It's in the list. Is it because they're not just going to keep throwing? This is a software that is going to grow ideally without breaking. I know that's important. We all can't afford that. There's so many users now, we can't afford for this software to break. They're going to continue to listen to us for the features that we want. They're going to implement these features intelligently. Like I'm not trying to hype you guys up, but I think we have a lot of, as users, we all have a lot of trust in the company to deliver what we need to help us do our jobs.
You can hype us up. It's okay.
No, I agree with everything he said.
Amazing. Well, that is everything. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be on the panel today. And we are excited to pass things back off over to Colin.